Welcome back. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. This is not the first time we are trying to do this today. Definitely having some tech issues on sound, so please let me know if you can hear me okay. All right. Okay, so I'm really excited to have you here today because I have not had a straight shot journey as an entrepreneur. It's definitely had its ups and downs and twists arounds, and it didn't have to be nearly as hard as I made it or I allowed it to be. But I did not realize that I had a set of limiting beliefs. That was not only fueling the negative self talk, like what we talked about yesterday, but was really just in the driver's seat of my life, of my relationships, of my business, and just controlling everything. So once I went to cognitive behavioral therapy for the first time in a long time, I started to learn about some of these limiting beliefs and how they were impacting pretty much every facet of my life. And then I also, at work, began to realize how it was impacting clients and impacting my work with clients and impacting my clients' work with their clients and all kinds of things like this. So then I just became sort of obsessed with limiting beliefs and thought patterns and behavioral patterns, as you already know. I love to incorporate archetypal behavioral patterns into all of my work. So, we're going to try to talk about a little bit of that as well today, too. Okay. So, I don't want to keep you too long. So, let's get started. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and click the beautiful little bell so you can get notified each and every weekday when I'm going live and bringing you a beautiful, tangible takeaway like this little worksheet set or workbook, whatever you want to call it. Um, so, we're going to be today working on rewriting your beliefs with bliss, which I'm not asking for an email address or anything like that. Just pop on down to the video description here and click that link, which will bring you here. And you can download this, print it off, do whatever you want to do. Um, but let's get started. Okay. I really hope you guys can hear me okay. Oh my gosh, what a day with tech. But honestly, I'm really proud of myself for powering through because speaking of archetypes, I am a rebel maiden and it can be really hard for me to show up. I'm naturally very, very shy, have lots of social anxiety and things like that. So it can be hard enough for me to show up once, sometimes much less over and over and over again. So I'm patting myself on the back right now. But the truth is, I wouldn't have been able to do that same thing even months ago had I not been doing this work. So if there's anything that you have been wanting to do, know you should be doing, but you've been struggling to get there, it's probably a limiting belief that you can dig out and challenge and rewrite using this process today. Now, if you are a freelancer, a creative, a woman that's looking to monetize her passion and purpose by providing services like, say, branding services or logo design services or photography services or content or social media, any of these B2B services, you're really going to want to pay attention here because you know that a lot of times clients do not come to the table understanding the foundational elements of branding psychology, um, of developing their avatar, and all of these kinds of things. So, when you go to do that work, if you don't also already have this work underneath your belt and know how to execute or facilitate the process for someone else because you've done it enough on your own, you're going to really struggle to get them to be able to either answer those questions at all that you need them to answer in order to do your work, or you're going to struggle to get them to answer them correctly. And therein lies a bigger problem because both you and the client will be moving forward blindly, not realizing that what you're building together is probably not going to work out long term or be sustainable for the client. And because neither of you really understand what's happening, you're both going to blame each other. And then that ends up being negative brand equity for you when you were really showing up trying to do your best, right? And trying to go above and beyond. So, today's session is going to be super valuable for you if you are a coach, a creative, a woman, a human being struggling with limiting beliefs, which you are, because every individual, every human being carries beliefs that have been shaped by experiences. They've been shaped by their upbringing, and not just their parents or their teachers, but pretty much everyone around them in their early formative years. And of course, society, media, all that good stuff, right? And now, while some of these beliefs can absolutely propel us forward, others can totally limit our potential in such a brutal, cyclical way. Now, I put these worksheets together for you so that you can, again, take yourself through the process a handful of times, get really, really familiar with it, and then also leverage it in your business as well as you facilitate your clients through their own limiting beliefs that might be holding them back in certain key areas of their business that you need them to be able to overcome so that you can do your job. Another great example is maybe you're a photographer, but you're working with someone that's extra shy and they're trying to put together like photos that really show how powerful or how bold or how confident they are, right? This is an excellent exercise for you to leverage. Okay, here's how it's going to go. So, as you see right here, let me just walk you through. We've got our challenge your thoughts chart worksheet over here. Next to it, we've got a little guide for you. And then we've got more of the same, but in kind of a different format that I'm going to leave you with for some homework tonight. And then before we wrap up today, we're going to kind of run through these tips on how you gather evidence, which is the process we're going to run through right now. So if you haven't already, make sure you grab your handy dandy worksheet or workbook set that I included for free, not asking for an email address or anything, but if you would subscribe, share, hit the bell, any of that good stuff, I will love you forever. So, in the left column is where we're going to put some select beliefs. Next to it is where we're going to be putting evidence that supports it. And then finally, evidence that says, yeah, that's probably some BS. I'm calling BS on that. Okay. Now let's run through um, your step-by-step instructions. Okay. So first we're going to identify the belief, like I said. All right. So I want you to begin by pinpointing specific beliefs that might be holding yourself or the client back. And this could be related to any area of their life. So it's all about playing detective here, okay? And being patient, because a lot of times it can take several rounds of questioning and going deeper, deeper, deeper. Why? In order to get to the real root of the problem rather than just the symptoms of that root problem. Then we're going to engage with this table, okay? We're going to use it as a structured guide, progressing through each question, encouraging yourself and eventually your clients to answer honestly and reflectively without judgment. This is a judgment-free zone, okay? Then we're going to seek the evidence here. So I want you to first with yourself and then encourage your client to think critically about the origins of their belief and any evidence that both supports and then eventually contradicts it. Okay. So once we've got all of these boxes figured out, that's where the more critical thinking and action will take place. So we'll visualize the shift first. And as the conversation progresses, you can paint a vivid picture to help the client visualize the positive changes. And if you can incorporate the five senses, bonus points. Okay. So really help them to visualize these positive changes that might arise from adopting a more empowering belief. And not in just one area of their life. Think about their relationships, professional and otherwise. Think about their work and their career. Think about how they are with their friends. Think about how they are just in their finances, right? In every area of their life. Just keep on going. and then plan for action. You want to conclude by brainstorming tangible steps, and the more bite sized, the better, because we want to set everything up for success with small wins, micro wins, right? So, tangible steps that you or the client can take to reinforce this new belief and bring about the desired changes. Okay. And then finally, revisit and reflect. So, okay, we've talked about this before. Beliefs evolve over time and they get reinforced by our behaviors, unconsciously and consciously. So, I want you to revisit this exercise regularly yourself. It says periodically to be gentle, but regularly, um, to assess your progress and make any necessary adjustments. And then you can do that with your clients as well. So I hope you think this worksheet is as cool as I do. I think it's so handy. In so many different ways that you can leverage it. And this is a little bit more of the same, but a slightly different twist, right? So, here I wanted to empower you a little bit more through that coach or that service provider um, conversation where you're digging deeper to figure out what's really going on here. Okay, so this is the question at hand. And here is a example script of how you can use it and what kind of answer you might expect from your client. Okay, or from yourself. And this will kind of help to guide you to know if you're really getting to the right answers as well. But before we go, let's talk about gathering evidence, Miss Detective. Okay. So start with open ended questions. And when we talk about coaching and consulting, I have said this before, I'll say it a million times. It's not about telling, it's about asking and listening. So start with questions like, can you tell me more about that? Or what makes you feel that way? And remove any and all judgment, open with compassion, empathy, create a truly safe space, and encourage deeper exploration and detailed responses. Okay. That will help you to uncover those root beliefs, not the layers above that will keep you spinning your wheels and getting frustrated with each other. My next tip is that you, yeah, get specific with those examples. And it might take a lot of prodding and a lot of patience for both of you with one another. And I encourage you to ask for consent about this process as you go into it, which will help you later down the line as you get to these challenging points. But when a client states a belief, what you want to do is to prompt them for specific examples and instances, as long as it takes to sit there, or events that support that belief. Or if you can't really sit there with them for a long time, encourage them to journal on it, okay, and then come back to you. But these are things that have to be addressed. Or when you get down the line, there will be issues that happen. I promise, promise, promise you with this relationship. So, concrete examples can provide clarity on the belief's foundation. And that is essential if we're going to have any real meaningful progress moving forward. Next, you're going to want to challenge generalizations. So, if you at first, or if your client starts using absolutes like always or never, that's a flag. That's a bell. Ding, ding, ding. Now we know, definitely probe deeper right there. That's a spot that we need to look at. So ask if there's ever been any exceptions to this perceived rule, and then prompt yourself or them to think for counter examples. And that's what we'll be doing in that third column on that worksheet, right? My fourth tip for gathering your evidence, Nancy Drew, is to leverage facts versus interpretations. I really like this one. I think it's super cool what happens in conversations when you whip this little device out. So, guide your client in differentiating between objective facts and their interpretations or their assumptions, which can help them to see where a belief might be based more on perception rather than reality. And finally, external perspectives. I want you to encourage your client to consider how a neutral third party might view this situation from the outside, because that outsider's perspective can often provide a fresh viewpoint or new round of empathy that really challenges those beliefs for them. And with that, I will leave you. Make sure you grab a copy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.